Hi, George.
Hi, George.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
It is wine day.
Wine
Cheers
Wednesday.
to you, friend.
Ooh, that was a good cheers.
That was a good cheers.
What are you drinking?
I am drinking rosé out of the fanciest wine bottle I've ever drank wine out of.
You're welcome.
Are you drinking your duck murder wine?
Duck murder wine. I'm drinking Duck Hunter Sauvignon Blanc.
Side note, I'm a vegetarian. She brought me over Duck Hunter wine. I was like, what is this? What is this that you brought into my home?
The duck is the hunter.
The duck is the hunter. So, like, I feel like...
So back off.
The hunters had it coming to them. So, anyways, thank you guys for joining our podcast with us on Wednesday. Hope you have poured yourself some wine so that you can sit here and wine with us. So, we are not going to get into too much detail on who we are just yet, just because that's a lot of information and you'll learn about us as you go through our podcast today. Because, side note, do you ever remember people's names when they say them to you?
Never,
right?
Never.
Like, there's something wrong with me in which it's a social anxiety thing. The second somebody says their name to me, I don't remember it. And I think it's because I'm entering this new relationship trying to be like, tell myself, be normal, don't be weird, don't be anxious. And then they tell me their name and I immediately forget their name. And then I spend the rest of the conversation being stressed out because I don't know their name.
Do you worry about what you're going to say next?
Yes.
Okay, I do all the time. I'm glad we're on the same page.
All the time. And then I'm just focused on the fact that, like, they just said their name and I don't remember it. So I don't know if you guys do that too or if you're normal. I am Jocelyn.
I'm Caroline.
And this is Caroline. And we have been friends since we think about 15 years old. And we do these weekly wine nights together because we need our bestie here in 2020. You will also hear us call each other George, which we're sorry. It's a long-standing nickname.
Just
and
go with it.
We're both George, so just go with it. And so we're going to kind of launch into our podcast. You'll see it kind of has 3 segments. We do our wines and our wins to start off with, which is just something that happened during the week that either went really, really well, is a win, or really, really badly for our wine. We'll both present one of those to you so that you can hopefully kind of hear us hash it out and at least get some entertainment from our wines and wins. Each episode will launch into a little bit of a longer topic that we want to kind of dive more deep into. And then after that, we do what we like to call our crazy check, because at least once a week we text each other just to see if our anxieties about life have just gone over the deep end.
Real.
Right. Like, do we really need to be that worried about these things or not? So that's kind of the cadence you can expect from our episodes. With that note, would you like to dive into our wines and wins, George? Do you have a wine or a win to present to us this week?
I have it's a little bit of both. If you had asked me last week, it would have been a major wine.
Yes.
This week it's become, as of today, like an hour ago,
we're evolving. We're always
became
updating.
A win.
That's great.
So to give a little bit of context, this is Caroline, and my husband and I, we make moves where we talk about things forever and ever, and then we move on them really quickly once we make the decision. So we recently, for years and years, we've been kind of planning, where are we going to move? What are we going to do? We want to build a house. So now, all of a sudden, we've sold our house, moved into my best friend's neighborhood, and we're renting a house.
That's a win right there.
That is a win.
That is a win.
That's like,
we are pandemic bubbling together, side note, so having you as my neighbor.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes, exactly. I think that's like a theme for the whole season, is that we are neighbors living out our high school dreams of living in the same neighborhood.
Absolutely.
So we are in the process of selling our old house. We are renting a house in Jocelyn's neighborhood while we kind of start the process of building a home. And we found this house. We decided we were going to move and decided to rent this house like, the time frame of a week?
You told me like 5 days prior that you were absolutely under no circumstances moving this year because it was going to be way too stressful with your job and raising your tiny human, and it wasn't going to happen. And then like 4.5 days later,
just kidding,
you're like, by the way, we're going to be neighbors.
Right.
It's like, what is happening?
So that's a really good summation of how my husband and I do things.
We dive right in.
Yeah. But it's been great. It's been one of the best things that we've done. So we found this house that was kind of, it had everything we needed that we could rent in the interim while we're going to build our house. It, had the right amount of rooms and all the things. And it was, an 8-minute walk from my best friend. And, everything on paper looked great. It's a beautiful house. It's great. How tall are you?
I don't know. That's not a piece of information that people have. 5'7".
Oh, That's great. Okay,
congratulations.
No, I thought you were gonna say like 5'5" or something.
No, I think I'm like 5'6" and 3/4.
All right, well, her best friend is fun sized. I am like 4'11", 5 feet.
Can you reach the pedals of your car yet?
Like barely.
Okay.
Like I could borderline really use pedals so that I'm like safely distanced from airbags, but that's besides the point. So we move into this house and there's all the storage. I can't reach a lot of the cabinets. So I have like stools and things.
Well, because you had a stool, but the stool's not tall enough.
Right. The stool is tall enough for the old house. It's not tall enough for the new house. So that's
you guys
like a mini
cabinets for days.
Like, yeah, which is great, but I can't utilize them if I can't put anything in them.
Except for when your husband stores your most used items in your tallest cabinets.
Yeah. He does have a habit of rearranging things out of
your reach.
Out of my reach. Like my favorite coffee cup.
Reach.
Tall people perspective, I guess. But so this house seems perfect, right? It's perfect. I go to take a shower.
Oh no.
I go to take a shower.
Oh no.
And like I noticed when it's one of those like our bathroom has like a shower tub combo, right? So you walk into the shower and it's like one of those square showers and the tub is next to it.
Okay, like mine.
Yeah. So
is yours super see-through?
Yeah, it's super see-through.
Great.
Which
no
is,
privacy.
But we have a door. You guys don't have a door. Yeah, I feel personally victimized by bathrooms that don't have
doors.
One
of my greatest wants in life is a door for my bathroom.
Yeah.
But anyways.
So I get in, I I'm turning on the shower and, you look in and I'm used to everything being out of my reach, A, but like B, I have to adjust everything, right? Like a shower head and all those things. I go to adjust the shower head and I realize like, okay, I can't make it low enough.
I can't go over your head.
Yeah, so I can't. Well, okay. So here's the problem.
Your hair is wet right now, so I feel like
exactly. No, I'm able to wash my hair, but listen, here's the problem, right? Okay, as a woman, you know that there are no wash your hair shower days, right? Like you shower daily, you don't wash your hair every day, right?
I do not remember the last time I washed my hair.
Right. Okay. So and I have perfected as a human the art of not washing my hair for very long stretches of time, and I've perfected the art of not doing it without a shower cap because I can shower, do all my things without getting my hair wet, and I hate shower caps because the noise of the shower cap makes me claustrophobic. Is that okay? That might
no, I get it. The hat that I wore for Halloween made me slightly claustrophobic because it echoed.
But the point of it is that I can shower without getting my hair wet without a shower cap, right? Not in this shower. Wait, but it gets better. I almost drowned in the shower, okay? So let me just walk you through this. So the shower head doesn't go down far enough to where I can have the water hit my hair and without being face to face, like pushing on the glass because of the angle. Okay, so I cannot toggle the shower head low enough to wash my hair.
I'm just picturing your husband walking in and you just being plastered against the side of the shower and him being like,
I feel like
happening?
The starfish in Finding Nemo, like, like in the tank where she's like, the tank's clean. Like that's me every time I take a shower, right? So imagine on no shower or no wash your hair days, right? You're trying to like wash your body, but the thing doesn't go. I can't wash the front of my body unless I turn around and I'm pelted in the face with the water because there's just no way. There's the distance to the end of the shower is not long enough for me to get to the angle of water.
I feel like you're just like massively dodging your shower. Do you need to take showers at my house?
I almost drowned.
We don't have a door, but the bedroom door closes.
We don't have a door, so just go ahead, make yourself at home, take a shower.
We're about to
so you
really
don't
get to know each other.
But also, isn't your shower probably the same shower as mine if we have the same home builder? Maybe. I mean, I don't know what your shower head situation is like. I've never experienced
these issues before, but we did replace our shower head, so I'm thinking that might be my recommendation after all this. Although you said it turns into a win.
It does turn into the win because my husband's amazing. But so the last, I don't know, we moved in like October 1st. It's now November 4th. So you take in the craziness that is this day. I have not been able to like fully clean myself without almost drowning. You haven't been
stinky though, so
no,
that's good.
But I've almost died every time I've showered because I'm almost drowning. So now I'm A, forced to wash my hair, which is a pain in the ass as a woman. But B, I literally can't. I have to like lift my leg up to like rinse the soap off because the water pressure situation's not great. I've almost eaten it like 4 times where I've like slid in the shower. So it was a wine like a week ago. And I asked my husband for my birthday because the deal was when we moved to this house, no more house projects. He's been in the mode of just home improvement, doing all the projects. A rental home, you don't have to do that. He'll have free time again.
I want a bathroom door if he would like to come over at any time.
No, the deal was
anytime
no more house
we can
projects.
happen if he's just bored.
But it turned into a win because for my birthday, which is coming up, is he ordered a shower head that he's replacing it, and I'll be able to shower and not drown daily. So it wasn't wine like last week. This week it's a win. I feel like I'm crushing it at life.
Don't you love how romantic our gifts get as we...
Yeah. Oh, a shower head. Aww. Wonderful. For the record, before I came, my hair, as we're recording this, is soaking wet, and I almost drowned right before I came over here.
No.
But I didn't even care because the shower head is in our home.
Coming. Oh, it's there.
And it just has to be put up. So... That's my story.
I feel like it's not that hard of an install either. So your husband will have that.
Oh yeah, he's super handy. My husband is like a magician when it comes to house projects. I'm really lucky in that area.
Yes.
So yay.
Well, I'm super glad he won't be drowning anymore. Until that point, maybe like let me know when you're getting a shower to make sure I can like check on you.
I just like show up to your house with like a rubber ducky and like a like a bathrobe and like slippers. I'm like, just don't mind me, guys.
Yeah, I mean, ours has like, if it helps, ours has like a detachable shower head that you can like.
Like a wand.
Like a
yeah,
wand.
That's what our
a wand is
new
the official word for it.
Vocabulary.
you and your technical terms. Yes, ours has a wand. So that I feel like you need a wand.
Yeah, so the new one is like all the bells and whistles, and the other one is made for a giant. Like, I don't know, even Ryan, my husband's 6 feet, so, and he's like, I'm really close to the glass, it's very uncomfortable. So between being short and being claustrophobic, the shower has been my nightmare. What's going on?
Congratulations on not drowning. Mine was also kind of a wine that turned out to be like a major win. It was really, really cute. So mine was something I was doing with my daughter. So I do have 2 kids. I have a daughter and a son. So my daughter is going to be turning 5 imminently as well. Her birthday is right after yours. So we obviously, Halloween is a little bit different this year with pandemic, right? So we've been really trying hard to like come up with other things we can do to make times special these days, right? So we can come up with...
Pause. My best friend Jocelyn is like the fairy princess godmother of all stay-at-home preschool situations and has made pandemic amazing for her daughter. So proceed.
Thank you so much. My daughter's so good about it all, but I'm just like, we need to try to make things special in a different way. So apparently in like the trying to make holidays super, super special, I had promised we would make these cutout cookies. I don't remember doing it, but my daughter remembers everything, and she assures me that I told her we'd make these cutout cookies.
So you were voluntold to make cookies.
Absolutely. I know, right? But it's my mom's cutout cookie recipe. They're delicious. She only makes them at Christmas, and all growing up, I was like, we didn't understand why she'd only made them once a year.
They're magical. You sent me home with them.
Delicious. One
of them had blue frosting. Side note, I don't eat blue foods. I almost ate the blue one. I didn't, but they're that delicious.
Okay. Wow. So we made these cutout cookies, right? So this started as a major wine. I don't know about all of you, but like when I try to do these sorts of things with my children, like I have the best intentions, but like I'm also kind of a control freak. So I get a little bit stressed out when like all the moving parts are going, and like, but I've been trying in all the pandemic, and I appreciate you with your positive feedback on how I'm handling these things to just be mindful of the fact, like, it's about the process for the kids, right? Like, that's what, like, makes it special for them. So we decided to make these cookies, right? And I am ready to go. It's a Saturday. My husband's off work. He can help with my son, who's younger, and my daughter and I can make these cookies. So we get everything out. We get it all ready. We measure everything out. Everything's going fine until we get to the point where we're supposed to roll out and cut the cookies, right? So we get to that point, and I'm looking at the dough, and I'm like, I've made these cookies before. This dough is like dry and cracking, and like it won't stick together, and I don't understand what's happening. The Splenda.
I got a text that asked if I was opposed to Splenda, and I got no other information.
Because some people are very like against the artificial sweeteners. So I do bake a lot with Splenda instead of sugar, mostly because we tend to have Splenda. And so my husband and I were like, well,
whatever, substitute.
There's gonna be a lot of sugar happening in the coming weeks. So with the holidays coming up, so let's use Splenda in these cookies. I flawlessly put Splenda in my chocolate chip cookies all of the time. They always turn out perfectly.
They're delicious. You've given them to me and they're wonderful.
Yeah, right. Thank you. Nobody would ever know the difference. And then, they make me feel a little bit better about the sugar intake.
I feel better about all the cookies I've eaten that you've given to me now.
They're usually made with Splenda, except in the case of the cutout cookies, in which they revolt if you put sugar, revolt against you if you put sugar.
Of course, the ones you're voluntold to do are also nope, screw you.
They revolted against me. I FaceTime my mom. I'm like, what is wrong with this dough? Why does it look this way? She was like, I don't know. Put it in the microwave. Add water. I'm like, adding eggs. I'm trying to fix the dough. I don't know. There was a lot of suggestions thrown about. Nothing fixed it. I even baked a sample batch. They were gross. I'm like, okay.
So at this point, how much time have you put in?
An hour of us
an hour taking with the time. A toddler is 8 hours.
Well, because we were trying, she's doing at-home pre-K right now. We're learning to count, we're learning to measure, we're doing all the things. So I decided, okay, well, this is a good opportunity to measure and count and do all that. We're learning what half is and all that. So we went through the whole thing.
That's a long
time.
And
I could tell she's kind of disappointed as well, but we're just going through it. She was by this point getting a little bit bored of the whole process because we had been learning and it was really involved. So she goes off and plays for a minute. So I just quickly remake the dough. But now we're at this point 2.5 hours in. So I
these aren't even Christmas cookies. These are Halloween cookies. You're in for it.
I know. So we make the next batch. The dough comes out perfect. We're rolling them out. She likes to do all the cutouts. At one point, she gets a little bit bored of the actual process that has to happen to get them cooked. So I give her her side dough to just play with. So then she's playing.
Oh, that's smart. That's a good idea.
Yeah, she made a play oven in the kitchen. So she's making her own cutouts, and she's
her daughter's a genius, an actual genius. She's smarter than me.
She's smarter than me too. It's
we both have graduate degrees, and she's smarter than us.
She really is. She's
Watch yourself, Aria, president for Prez, 20 whatever year that will be.
I believe it. I believe it. So she's doing that. So we make all the cookies. We get them done but by this point, by the time all of these things have happened, we've paused to have lunch. We've done a few it's nap time by this point. So I'm okay, this is just a whole day activity. And I am side note being super patient with all the things that have been thrown at me, even though I'm just in my mind going, oh my gosh, these are this, I can't believe we screwed up the first batch. So we get to nighttime. We haven't iced any of the cookies. Her dad was going to go on a walk with my son. She decides that she wants to stay home with me to ice the cookies instead. And I'm like, okay, that's sweet. And so we're icing the cookies, which is of course lots of things were happening in that as well, including the fact that literally a million sprinkles got over my kitchen at one point, but everywhere. Yeah. They just they're magical. They crawl once they hit the floor. So, but all this stuff's happening, and we're just her and I are just taking it in stride. It's all going really well, and so we're we're icing the cookies together. And I look at her and I'm like, Aria, I'm really glad that you stayed home with me while Dad went on a walk because I'm having a lot of fun with you. And she looks at me and she goes, I knew you would say that, Mom. She's she goes, I knew you would say that. Of course I stayed with you. I love doing things with you. You're the best mom in the whole world. And I was I'm standing there in my kitchen just
the best thing a mom could ever hear ever.
I know.
It's why you do all
I'm tearing up in my kitchen. I give her a hug. I'm I'm so happy too. This all turned out so well. So started out as a wine with the dough not working out, but it went as best as humanly possible and such a good memory. So turned into a major win.
That's really awesome. And you know what? She was so proud of the cookies. We came over. What was that, a couple hours or it was the next day after you baked cookies. She was so proud of the cookies as you were packing them up for me. And she was like, I hope that you enjoy your cookies. Yeah. We will.
So we want to go ahead and share our wines and our wins with you. But then each week as well, we would like to dive into kind of a deeper topic because we both have graduate degrees. We both, I feel try to be really mindful about how we're going through life, despite the fact that we joke on our podcast, right, about how we feel we're winging it no matter how hard we try to have everything planned out. But we always do have really good insights for each other, and so
right.
I feel it's important.
We are really intentional.
We are really intentional. We do try. So we want to kind of get a deeper dive into certain topics that maybe have hit home for us and been meaningful. So for this first topic, as we're kind of launching this podcast as the new year takes off, as people are really trying to just be their best selves. And it's been something that I personally have been working on for years. But in the pandemic, it's come up with, you that I kind of shared my, very green knowledge on this scenario in a way that I think hit home for you as well. And so it's kind of become a central way that we talk about things in life because it's been something that was so important in our discussion. And that is the fact that you had a conversation with me about how you were trying to do all the things, right? Like you thought that you had daycare for your daughter. You thought that you were going into work, crushing it. Everything was going fine. And then 2020 hit and there's a global pandemic. And suddenly you're at home, working from home, caring for your daughter full time and trying to like do all the home things. So you had texted me one day and said that you were asking me how I keep my house clean, like what my plans are for when I clean my house, when I do
all the things.
Just all the things that keep a house going, right? And like we both have husbands that are really active. It's not like we're expected in our homes to carry the house.
Right. We have great partners.
Going. We have great partners. But it's just, it takes some planning when you're raising the humans, when you're doing the job. So I kind of reframed it in a way that I try to think about things, which is, are you procrastinating the cleaning or are you prioritizing your well-being? So that's kind of our topic for today, is the whole procrastinating versus prioritizing, which I think is honestly a really important distinction, because it's like we all end up in this like self-sabotaging sort of routine in life, right? Because if you reframe it as that you're procrastinating, you're negatively framing it for yourself, whereas what's really happening is you're prioritizing all the other things. So like in the scenario that we talked about, you were prioritizing keeping your tiny human alive, keeping your job going so that you had income for your family, and many, many other things. And like maybe your bathrooms weren't getting cleaned every week, but like you were prioritizing it.
Well, actually too, I wanted to just jump in and share a story really quickly, because you actually shared this concept with me a year prior to pandemic. Like I'm not exaggerating. And because I knew we were going to kind of try and talk about this tonight, and I was looking through our messages, and a year ago we came up with the concept for this podcast. Like a year ago, we actually, I think it was over this specific conversation, because
it might have been.
I was packing.
We've been wanting to do this
for a vacation, and I texted you, and you were asking me how things were going. You know, we do this thing again. We check in with each other all the time just to make sure we're sane and we're not actually losing it. And I think I texted you, and I was like, "Okay, we leave for Europe tomorrow." Okay, it was Q4.
Remember when we could travel?
Yeah, it was, and we love to travel, and But a year ago, I was headed to Europe with my family, but I work full time and my business is at its busiest in Q4. So it's, to set the scene, it's December, and I had taken this job I took the job after I had already booked this vacation, which was like a once in a lifetime European cruise. Sounds wonderful. My mom was scheduled to watch my daughter, and long story short, come to Q4, work is insane. I am the busiest I've ever been. My daughter is in daycare. And the plan was my mom was going to fly out and watch our daughter. We were going to have our very first vacation away from our daughter. She's 2 now. At the time she was, around about 1. And a week before our vacation, my mom broke her back. My mom lives in Florida. So I'm already stressing. She's okay now. Stuff. She is okay. Side note, she's totally recovered, and she's great. She broke a vertebrae in her back that left her just really out of commission, and she wasn't able to fly out, wasn't able to watch our daughter. So we reconfigured our plans at the very last minute to bring our daughter to Europe with us. So anybody with a toddler...
Side note, as soon as you pitched this plan to me, I was like, no.
Right.
Visceral reaction, no.
Right.
Please stop.
I know, and I mean, even just like driving 30 minutes with a child is a big commitment, and like getting ready to get packed up for that.
So she was what, like a year and a half then?
Yeah.
Okay.
And she's 2.5 now, so she was like a year and a half then. And she's a great kid, but 13-hour flight is no joke. And so we got this notification that my mom is not going to come about a week before the vacation happens, right? Work is at its busiest. My house is a disaster. There's all these things happening, and Jocelyn asked how packing for the trip was going, and I was like, well, I have not even packed, and it's, we leave tomorrow morning, because I had my holiday party for work that night, and she just so simply put it. She was like, we call that prioritization, not procrastination, because I told her I was procrastinating. And she helped me reframe in that moment. And
oh,
like,
you're gonna make me cry on our
no,
first podcast. I didn't
no.
realize that was like that.
No, it was a huge thing. And you know, getting ready to go for a trip, I realized I was just prioritizing, okay, I have this thing to do for my career. I'm doing this in this moment. My daughter needs this in this moment. She's teething. So I need to like be there for her. I can pack in the morning. I packed in the morning. Then we got on the flight. It was just living minute to minute to have all these beautiful memories, right? But a week after we got back from the trip, we talked about that moment. We were texting, and that's where the idea from the podcast came from, was after that first. And I said, wouldn't it be cool if we had a podcast from a working mom's perspective and a stay-at-home mom's perspective? And then, you know, a year and a pandemic happened.
I can't believe it's been that long, right? This year has been like the year that just doesn't end, because we've been talking about it all year as well.
Yeah. And then, you know, the pandemic hit. My daughter was in daycare full-time, and I was working full-time. And then she has respiratory issues, so we did not feel comfortable keeping her in daycare or even putting her back in daycare after things have, you know, quote-unquote settled down. So now I lean on Jocelyn heavily every week, because she helps me reframe every time I have the panics. Because
you tend to be very negative about what's happening when in reality your intentions are all in the right place, and like there's just too many things, like too many things for one human to do. So it's like you are in reality prioritizing the things that need to get done to A, make your job work, B, make your daughter happy and make her, you know, alive, and
make her, you know, alive.
And it's just okay, but like what has to fall off, and that might be some of the cleaning or some of the like other things that keep the house going, but like having a happy kid and having a functioning career are very important things that are still happening.
Right.
But I think we put so much pressure on ourselves as moms and as humans that like we miss out on like how great we're actually doing, because we reframe it as the fact that we are just like, oh, we're always missing the bar.
Right.
But we can't do all of the things, especially now in this year. So it's like you're not, if you frame it as procrastinating these things, then you're always going to be down on yourself, and you're always going to be feeling really sad about the fact that you're not hitting the bar.
Yeah.
Whereas it's more about resetting the bar and figuring out where your priorities lie and giving more value to the things that do matter, which is keeping your daughter happy and keeping your career going.
And I was thinking about this topic too, because, you know, I thought about the specific words like procrastination versus prioritization. It's
really negative, right?
It is really negative. And we feel that way, but why do we feel that way? And I was thinking about, and it's because like, okay, there's like the Insta perfect moms, and then there's the like the Pinterest life that like everyone's living. And so somehow there's this visual I have in my mind that I should have it all together. But like, I don't have a maid. I don't have a nanny. I don't have any help.
Oh, what? You're doing like 18 jobs all yourself?
I'm winging it. So of course I'm not ready for a European vacation with a toddler who's now at last minute coming with us until the night before. Right, because
this was supposed to be like a really romantic, great getaway that you and your husband really needed. Yeah. Like really needed.
But your reframing of that really, really helped me. And that brought me to the like concept of like, hey, why do we feel like that? And like, how much do you feel like the internet or the interwebs or all the things you see, does that ever impact your experience as a mom when you're reframing that for yourself?
Yeah. So one of the things that I have done during this pandemic is I am completely off Facebook. I've transferred onto Instagram a little bit, and obviously for the podcast we're on Instagram, and you've been kind of schooling me on the Instagrams,
which I know nothing about, so it's a blind leading the blind.
No, you're selling yourself short. But Facebook was like adding a lot of negativity to my life.
Yeah,
because there's a lot that happens on Facebook that doesn't necessarily happen on Instagram, and also my Instagram following is it's a smaller group of people that I actually
it's like your real people
want on them. Yeah. And that's kind of what's happened is I've kind of been more intentional about who follows me on Instagram and who I follow on Instagram. And you've kind of taught me how to kind of use it a little bit better so that I'm following accounts that aren't necessarily even people that I'm close with, whether it's celebrity accounts or mom accounts or whatever. It's just helping it be better.
Like helpful accounts that build you up.
Yeah. So, and what was your question? How does social media?
Yeah. Like how has that like impacted your, like the way you frame it for yourself? Like, because I was feeling like I wasn't living up to like the Insta mom, Pinterest, get it all together life.
Because
But is that real?
there is a lot of that. Social media is not real at all. And then there's a lot of the fact of like people that we don't even know that well, or people that we do know that well. Like I would have friends that were posting things on Facebook that I knew weren't even reality.
It's curated.
And that was causing a problem for me as well. Because I'm like, I know that like you're telling me this thing on text message, and then I'm seeing you post on Facebook, and it's not the same. And so that's a problem for me as well, right? Because it's not authentic. And I think part of what I've kind of learned in this year is that like being our authentic selves and just kind of accepting who we are as people, where our growth spots are, what we need to do to make ourselves and our families happy. Like it's really, I don't know if this is true for our listeners as well, but like the pandemic, I feel like has put this like spotlight on just like what is actually important in life. And it's kind of shed away a lot of that extra.
Kind of like slowed everything down.
It did slow everything down. And I think that's where I finally made the decision to just get off Facebook, because I realized I was scrolling through it as this like almost way of trying to connect with other people and feel like I was more in on the world, but really it was causing me so much unhappiness. And so since I've done that, I literally challenged myself to like, okay, 2 weeks, do not click on Facebook. And after that 2 weeks, I felt so much better that I have not gone on there in literally months. And I've made sure that on Instagram, even though I know that's still social media, I try to just follow accounts that make me feel a little bit better or give me helpful information, or people that I actually want to know what's going on in their lives. And I feel like that's been a lot more positive, because it's true. I think that does feed into that whole prioritizing versus procrastinating, because if you look at just the social media curated views of people, it seems like everybody has their act together and everyth's going so perfectly in life. And that's not.
Like they've been packed for this family vacation 3 weeks in advance, and nobody forgot anything, and nobody gets car sick, and
they don't post any of that. You don't post your child throwing up on Instagram. And I mean, arguably,
fun fact happened at the last 30 minutes of our European.
Well, yeah, because on top of all of it, your daughter
my husband had no winter clothes and wore a bathing suit and a tank top and flip flops through the Phoenix airport in December, because she got plane sick.
I mean, it's Phoenix, right? Like
at least it was Phoenix and not like Minnesota, but still.
We accept it. We accept it.
It was not Insta-worthy at that moment.
Right. But it's true. And like the argument could be made too that Instagram is, I don't know if it could potentially be worse for that, because it's all about photos, right? So people are just photographing their best possible moments.
That's
and putting
true.
them on Instagram. But I think what I've been trying to do is just be more conscious consumer of what I'm consuming on those platforms as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, also as part of this year, people haven't been posting as much of the stuff, right? Because people aren't doing as much of the stuff. So I'm happy to know that this came to you before even quarantine, because my memories were like how much this resonated. And maybe that's because it resonated with me during quarantine, because once we quarantined at home, I was realizing that like I was keeping like the go. Like we were in so many different classes for my children. We were always on the move, always trying to have a very busy social calendar. And so once this whole process started with the pandemic, I tried to just reevaluate, like, what am I actually trying to do?
Right.
Like, what do I want for my kids? Pre-pandemic, I was also not doing all the things with like the cleaning and getting all of those like home goals in place. Like I have, like,
but your schedule was so packed.
Side note: Marie Kondoed and home edited my entire house.
Her entire house.
And during the pandemic, because I focused some of that energy into making my space a little bit like better.
We were like socially distancing, exchanging drawer organizers, drawer dividers. This is a real thing that we've done.
Because it's
Hashtag mom life.
Mom life. We are sitting in my reorganized closet that I did the whole, because I did the whole Marie Kondo method, where you literally take everything out of your closet and evaluate what you actually want in your life. And I feel like that's what this whole prioritizing and procrastinating thing that has like resonated with us so much, is that like you do it with the objects in your life, but you also do it with like the actual intentional ways in which you're living in your life.
Right. And like, how do you want your kids to feel in that moment? I mean, I'm exhausted with the toddler, and you've got two, and I don't know, I legitimately don't know how you do it. Because like, I can't make it happen these days. And I know work is different and life is different these days. There's a lot of different, we're in a pandemic, and we live where we work, where we sleep, and where we are all the time.
Which, like, you and I are taking the pandemic very seriously, which I feel like is part of the whole social media stress situation, is that not everybody is taking it the same way.
Yeah.
So that kind of We're in our homes, we're in our heads, we're in our families. You're going to be a better person in your life, in your family, as being a parent, if you're prioritizing. So part of that, which I know what I was thinking about, was you doing your full-time job and raising your toddler. You also talk about me doing 2 kids as a stay-at-home mom, and that's kind of that dichotomy that we end up talking about that I think will come up a lot in our podcast. Is just it's like you have 1 kid, but you also have a full-time job. I have the 2 kids. That's a whole juggle in and of itself. But it's like you have to just identify where your happiness is. So I do want to shift this conversation a little bit to the priority, still in the prioritization and procrastination thing. Something that I've been doing lately in this whole pandemic life is that I have committed to exercising.
Which
5 times a week.
Best thing you can do.
For 30 minutes. 30 minutes. It's not that much to commit, right?
And break down what kind of exercise are you doing?
These at home cardio, just strength training sorts of exercises that I could do in a brief 30-minute window. And I know you as well have been doing either videos or treadmill.
Yeah.
Is your thing.
Yeah. I'll talk about that in a minute.
Okay. But since May, I have been 5 times a week committed to doing my exercise, and that is the first time, honestly, since high school that I have been committed to doing any sort of exercising. And it's part of this whole conversation that we've been having of prioritizing the exercising, because I think now more than ever I've realized that makes me less anxious as a human being. We've kind of talked about that we're both very anxious people.
We are super anxious people. We're high functioning anxious humans. People meet us and they're like, no, you're so my professional
also very introverted. Also very introverted people.
We are the most extroverted introverts you will ever meet. Because we can speak to you like nothing is wrong, but again, we will not remember your name because we don't. We're so panicked about what to say next.
About being normal human beings that we forget that your name is.
Right.
What you said to us.
But all of my professional feedback from my current boss, who I have an amazing boss, and she always says oh, you're so calm, and you're so calm, cool, and collected, and I can never tell if you're panicking. I was even asked once in a job interview, how will we know you're stressed? And I'm like, well, I'll be organizing my to-do list. That's
right, because
high functioning.
We channel our anxieties, right? Which is why I think this was such an important distinction when I said it to you, because you are always working on your to-do list. So it's prioritizing. You're not procrastinating. You're literally trying to prioritize. And there are just some things that you can't do. So us as perfectionists, as anxious people, it's really hard for us to realize that there's just some things that you just can't get done.
Yeah.
You just can't. You can't do it all. You can't do it all. So to the point of the exercising, I committed to, okay, if I can just carve out 30 minutes for myself 5 days a week, whether it's during nap times or now that the weather's cooling down, we go on long walks with our little double stroller and my dog, just to get out and get moving. My not moving my body was really being detrimental to me, to my mental health, because your mental health is really important. And I think just committing to that has been really good for me. It's just that 30 minutes 5 days a week. But the point that I'm coming back to is that I think I've been so unsuccessful at the exercise goals since I was in high school. So I did cheer in high school, and that kind of had your exercise for you, right? Because everything was very regimented. I've been really difficult for me to adhere to any sort of regimen, because I set these really high, lofty goals that there's no way I'm going to reach. Right. There's just no way.
Right.
In pre-pandemic life, I said oh yeah, I'm going to exercise 5 days a week when my husband's not working from home and can possibly tap in if somebody needs me during nap time. It wouldn't happen. So when people are thinking about
and then you feel shitty about it.
Then you feel shitty about it because you're self-sabotaging yourself, because you're setting goals that you can't reach. So then you tell yourself, oh, I'm procrastinating, I'm putting it off. But you set a goal that you couldn't reach in the first place. And it's about prioritizing what you actually can do. So I think that's kind of when people think about whether we're at the end of the year, at the new start of the year, as we go into this just kind of setting goals for ourselves. If your goal is that you can exercise twice a week and you can prioritize that, then do it and celebrate it.
Or do 30 minutes of the thing that lights your soul on fire and makes
whatever
you
it is.
Feel happy.
And
we've been starting this podcast thing, and it's been so exciting for me to research podcasts and do that, just to tap out, mentally clock out from the things that I have to do, which I want to reframe that again as I get to do these things. I get to have this time with my kids. I get to have this awesome job. I get it, right? Like, I'm so thankful.
But it's the thing that's just for you.
For those things. But I also need to clock out at some point. And that was something that your, like, advice helped me do, because I, like, reframing, like, are you prioritizing something? And this move showed me that I'm still not prioritizing myself as much as I should, because, like, right before we moved, we turned our guest room into a gym because #coronavirus, nobody is coming into our guest room or staying with us.
That was possibly the best part of your move, is that you, like, completely made yourselves a gym that your husband only ate chips and salsa in.
Yeah, my husband made this amazing home gym in our guest room that was not being used, and then he would watch football and eat chips and salsa in it. To be fair, because
then you moved
twice.
Like immediately.
We did. We moved out like 2 months later. But we made this gym, right? We got it, and I knew. So we live in Arizona, and the summers are like
fire,
1,000,000 degrees, and you can't go anywhere. Like, you can't even walk at 7 o'clock in the morning. It's 100 degrees.
No, because degrees. Your skin starts to light on fire.
Right. So I was feeling so trapped, and I got in this great routine. I was, running on, I was doing like a couch to 5K just to move my body. And like Jocelyn said, it was the best thing for my mental health, was just taking 30 minutes. It's a 30-minute workout. You can download like a free couch to 5K app, and it's 30 minutes. And, am I going to lose a ton of weight? No. Am I going to like have this groundbreaking change? No. But my mental health was so much better.
Right. Because we're both very anxious people. The movement helps the anxiety.
But then I can attest to the difference, because we put our house on the market and we wanted to wait until the movers moved the treadmill. The realtor said, hey, leave the gym for staging. This is great. Now the treadmill's sitting there collecting dust, and I am sitting at my house, and it's still been really hot. And I feel the difference. I did go running the other day in like 90 degrees. I came home and my husband asked me if I was going to pass out because I was like beet red. But the point is like, I think what Jocelyn really hit the nail on the head is like, prioritizing yourself is prioritizing your family, is prioritizing all the things that you want to do and all the things that you want to accomplish by just giving yourself that time.
Right.
So final thoughts on prioritization versus procrastination.
It comes down to prioritizing is for your mental health, whereas procrastinating is something we do that negatively impacts our mental health as well. It's just reframing it. And I think that we all need to give ourselves some leeway in reframing things that you are prioritizing versus procrastinating, and also setting goals for yourself that are actually attainable, because I think we're all guilty of setting these like lofty goals, whether it's because of what you think you should be or what social media is telling you what you should be, and then they're not attainable in the first place.
Yeah.
So then you tell yourself, oh, I'm procrastinating the goal that was supposed to be, and then it's just such a negative cycle, and then it never happens. So
yeah. And are you attaching your value to that? Like, are you attaching, especially as a mom, I think that's such a huge thing, where if you don't live up to that, like, picture perfect, like, family, we just took family photos, and I was sweating and hot, and I got a cactus spine in my foot, and like the family photo,
despite the stabbing, you looked beautiful.
Just to get this picture to like send out to people and say like Merry Christmas. Like, yeah. I should have prioritized the moment with my family instead of being like, here's this amazing thing, But
that was also okay, because you felt good that you guys got to get dressed up and you got to go and do something, right?
But again, I felt like I was procrastinating because we weren't like all perfectly coiffed and ready right before the photo shoot. And that's just the consistently reminding myself of that mindset helps me to then enjoy the moment. If I say like, hey, I don't have to be perfect. I was prioritizing the thing I needed in that moment. Now I have prioritized my family and myself. And that helped me to like feel better after
It's a mindset.
Fact. Yeah.
It's a mindset. That's a perfect way of looking at it.
So thanks for that great advice.
Oh. I'm glad it's been helpful, and hopefully for our listeners it's helpful as well. That's just a mindset. Yeah. Set yourself up for success and give yourself some grace, because life is hard.
Block some time for you.
We're all doing the best we can.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone's fighting the good fight. Block some time for you to just do something that makes your heart happy, and that you can just really reflect on and feel like, yeah, I did this.
Right? And like, to circle back to like what started the conversation between you and I, like, no, cleaning your bathrooms once a week is not necessarily an attainable goal.
You mean you don't have to have a perfectly like worked out
Sparkle.
Cleaning schedule? I literally had written down a Monday through Friday cleaning schedule, and she just laughed and was like,
no, stop.
Let's talk about prioritization.
Stop now. That sounds like you're going to be really upset.
I love lists. Okay. But yeah,
list.
but
Lists
it's
are
not
good. Lists are good in helping us meet our goals. But like maybe they should be like numbered.
Yeah.
Prioritize lists, and like it's okay if you don't hit numbers 5 through 100.
List goals like 1 through 3, and then the rest are for another day.
So please prioritize yourselves. That's the most important thing.
You deserve it.
You do deserve it.
George.
What?
Okay, we are transitioning now out of serious content and
serious. We got real serious for a while there.
I thought it would be important to let our listeners know what I discovered about dishwashers.
Right, so this is what we like to call our crazy check section, because you went a little crazy, and then you made it part of my family. So go ahead, tell our listeners about your crazy check.
All right. Well, first things first, introducing a crazy check and what that is.
Okay.
At least once a week, if not more. Like once a week on a good week, more on a regular week. We text each other the most random things. Some are serious, some are scary, some are happy, some are just totally obscure. And we check in to make sure that we have not actually lost our minds. Because again, we are staying home, working from home, doing all the things at home. Mm-hmm. We're losing it just in general. So
well, sometimes you just need someone that you know and love and trust to tell you, like,
yeah,
okay,
you're
reset, like, you're fine. You're fine. Like, go ahead and move on. And then you can kind of let it go for the moment.
And sometimes you need somebody to laugh with you at the most ridiculous things that you
right, because usually, like, when you're, like, feeling really anxious and, like, you're losing your mind, then you kind of start laughing about it if you have a sounding board. So here's what you did.
Yeah, so we definitely ranged from serious to crazy. And recently, so this past weekend was Halloween. My friend had us over for all the Halloween festivities because, again, she's like a magical fairy with all of the kid activities, and she keeps my kids so happy. And she invites us to all the things. So we come over and we're, just, having a good old candy hunt and hanging out. And I had the nerve, as one does, I had the nerve to share this random find. I have a habit of consuming random YouTube videos that tell me about all the things I should worry about all night long as a highly functioning anxious person.
Yes.
So one of the videos I consumed was all the things you're not cleaning in your house that you should be cleaning in your house, which instantly made me feel claustrophobic, and I felt like I needed to share and make sure everyone was cleaning these things.
And I am so upset that you even shared these things with me.
She feels personally victimized. So
I do.
Did you know that there's a little circle thingy dinger in your dishwasher?
A circle thingy dinger.
That's the technical term, if you were wondering. It's a circle thing. It's like a filter that catches all of the random food that you were too lazy to wash off of your dishes in this filter. And no one ever told me this filter existed, and you like give it a little jiggle and pull it out, and it's got all of the gunk that like you didn't clean off your plates, and it's the most gross thing I've ever seen on a video.
So we're just like sitting there enjoying the lunch that I made for your tiny human, and
your husband made.
Crazy. Saying. Okay, well, because I was snuggling your tiny human while my husband made the lunch.
I don't know why I felt the need to.
That's correct. Thank you for the attack. I was snuggling your tiny human because she loves to cuddle.
She is obsessed with cuddling.
She does love to cuddle. We were just like minding our own business, and then you're like, "Hey guys, crazy check. Did you know?"
Right, am I the only person who knows that there's this filter that you're supposed to be checking in your dishwasher?
It ruined my life.
I'm not joking. Like 8 seconds go by, if that. And, Jocelyn and I are sitting at the table with the kids, making sure they don't, stab each other with forks and things. And her husband beelines it for the dishwasher.
It breaks it.
He, did he break it? Is it, broken? Or is it working?
We don't know.
So he's, disassembling. Disassembling
it. He
the dishwasher.
He had to run a test, rinse cycle to see if it's still
to see if things were, rattling around.
Because you told him that he had to remove this thing, and he didn't plan ahead.
He took out pieces.
He didn't plan ahead.
He's not highly functioning anxious. We are, because normally you and I would have drawn a diagram.
He's a regular human.
Right.
We're high.
So my crazy check is, what are the things that we should be cleaning in our house that we did not know we should be cleaning? I have one more that I didn't tell you about.
I don't want you to tell me, because apparently you were supposed to clean my dishwasher, which he didn't even find the crazy filter thing when he broke our dishwasher. We have run it since then. So
really it's not broken, she's just mad at me. But
I think it works.
You should Google the things in your house that, well,
You
I mean,
shouldn't.
only if you've got the time to worry about this.
You just told them to prioritize. Don't do it.
Don't do it. I take it back. I'm sorry, but this is what I did. But in case you need one more thing to check, the washing machine.
No.
There's a little window that you're supposed to open and check all the things.
A window?
Yeah, it's like a little like door.
A window.
It's a door.
Our
More of a
washing
door.
machine does not have a window. It's not that friendly.
False. You've got a little door. I'll show it to you later. But and you like open it, and all of the things that have come out of your pockets like land there. But it's also a lot of water. So put a bowl under it when you're going to check it.
Where is it?
It's like on the bottom, and you don't pay attention to it.
On all washing machines?
I think
Is
most
it in the
of
back?
them. I don't know.
Mine doesn't have any cabinets in the front.
I don't know. All I know is on the last one, the house I moved from. I haven't looked in this house because I'm
Mine has
scared.
a little pan that catches
Here's
all the
the
things.
level of anxiety I'm at. I watch these videos and then I avoid.
You avoid doing it. Well, that was how it happened. You
Right.
said you were avoiding doing it at your own home.
Right, because we moved into a rental. I don't want
Which
to.
you're being
clean
highly
out.
suggestible to my very suggestible husband, who then went immediately.
But at least
and
it's your
dismantled our
gunk. I
dishwasher.
would be cleaning out a stranger's
It
gunk.
didn't have any gunk though, so
That's
that
because
was
you
good.
guys are delightful and you have no gunk.
Broke and we're delightful, but our dishwasher is broken.
But, anyways,
Our
that's
dishwasher
my
was
crazy
only
check.
operating at 70% before you instructed my husband to break it.
So this is one of our more lightheaded crazy checks. But
Lighthearted?
lighthearted.
Do you think-
Lightheaded.
Lightheaded? Lighthearted.
Oh yeah, that's the Doug wine
Your
talking,
heart
everybody.
feels, your heart feels.
So with that in mind, head over to our Instagram, the Whining Moms Podcast. We will have somewhere that you will find that you can share the things that you are concerned about. What is making you crazy? Are you actually crazy, or are you,
Which,
mostly
like, the Rona
sane?
times make it for, like, next level.
Also, I have this theory: everyone's a little
Next level.
crazy, and I
We all
don't
are.
think we can be friends if we're not all a little bit crazy.
Absolutely.
But anyways, head over to our Instagram, the Whining Moms Podcast. Let us know the kinds of things that are making you crazy. It could be a serious thing too. If it's a serious thing, we will unpack that together from time to time on our episodes, and we'll try and get back to you on the Instagram as well.
Right, because the dishwasher thing was, like, more funny, I feel like, but
More
sometimes-
regularly, we check
Sometimes
in.
it's, like, over, like, 45-minute unpack that we need to do because we, like, are not sure.
Yeah, sometimes that's been our whole Wednesday wine nights. Is just, am I
Unpacking.
crazy? Walk me through this.
Right.
And that's why we wanted to share this podcast with you all, because we are in it with you. So if you liked this episode, share it with your friends, share it with your mom friends, whoever you typically share a glass of wine with, or whoever you think might benefit from this kind of chit chat and just feeling like they have somebody in their corner. Send it to them. Check us out on our Instagram and subscribe.
You have a serious...
Subscribe to our podcast so you get notifications every time we post something new. But thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you for joining us. Happy Wednesday.
We'll see you Wednesday.
Bye.